Let me get you back to the Middle East and your thoughts on the latest developments. And let's get into it by having a listen to what one of these egregious Hamas leaders has said about their absolute dedication to destroying Israel.
دولة لا مقام لها على أرضنا. إحنا الدولة لابد أن نزيلها لأنه بالفعل هي تعتبر كارثة أمنية وعسكرية وسياسية للأمة العربية والإسلامية، يجب أن تنتهي. لذلك احنا لا نخجل من نقول ذلك بكل قوه انه إسرائيل لازم نأدبها، وحنأدبها مره ثانيه وثالثه، ومش هذا حتكون طوفان الاقصى اول مره، لا حتكون ثانيه وثالثه ورابعه، لانه احنا لدينا اصرار ولدينا قرار ولدينا امكانيات ان نقاتل
Yeah, anybody in any doubts about this is what one of their leaders, Alexander Downer, is prepared to say publicly, prepared to say that those terrorist atrocities we saw on October the 7th, they're happy to inflict again and again and again if necessary to eradicate Israel. It is sickening.
Yeah, and it's really important the West understand this. The standards that a lot of Western politicians and particularly the demonstrators and elements of the media apply to the Israeli Defense Force, they don't seem to apply to anyone else in the world. I mean, the Israelis have been, if I may say so, the Jewish people have been attacked in the most brutal and egregious of ways. It is inevitable they are going to react to this. Hamas, which wants to eliminate the Jews, and as they're making perfectly clear, it's not as though they're looking for a two-state solution or some negotiated position with the Israelis. They just want to eliminate them. They are using their own civilians as human shields, understand that. And so they're using schools and they're using hospitals. We've seen the so-called, what are described as refugee camps, as bases, military bases. They're firing missiles from these places. This is the most brutal of people. And they have to be eliminated. Israel has to win the war. And, we have to be clear-eyed about the importance of Israel winning this.
We absolutely do. And just on that, I want to show you some of what Penny Wong said today and get your critique on that. Here's the Foreign Minister today.
All of these challenges do not lessen Israel's obligation to observe international law and the rules of war. Even in war, there are rules. And I again would make this point. The international community will not accept ongoing civilian deaths. So when Israel's friends urge Israel to exercise restraint, when Israel's friends urge Israel to protect civilian lives, it is critical that Israel listens.
Why do we hear more warnings directed at Israel than we do pleas for the hostages to be released?
The hostages released, and Hamas are firing rockets at Israeli civilian targets. They're not firing rockets at military targets. They're firing them at randomly at civilian targets in Israel, as are Hezbollah. I mean, I'm not sure that that's consistent with international law, is it? I mean, you've got Western politicians like Penny Wong, who's actually trying to balance the sensitivities within the Labour Party between keeping the Jewish community happy on the one hand and keeping, pro-Palestinian elements in the Labour Party happy on the other. I mean, that's what it's all about. They should be making a simple moral case here, which is that Israel is a country that applies the rule of law, including the rule of international law. For Hamas, there is no law. For Hezbollah, there is no law. For the Iranians who back them, there is no law. They just randomly kill and try to kill. There's no discussion about them meeting international legal standards, as there apparently always is with the Israelis. I mean, I think it's a bit outrageous, really. I think, the Israelis are always put under pressure here to fight a war with with one hand tied behind their backs. It's totally unfair.
And they're the ones still burying their dead and still trying to get the hostages back. It is terrible. Thanks for joining us, Alexander Downer. I appreciate it.